So hi, welcome all of you to Pawan Kumar's IAS Delhi. I am Pawan. Today, as part of our special class, we will be looking at the entire preparation for UPSC Civil Services examination. So, as part of our special discussion over the next 2 hours or so, we will be looking at the syllabus for General Studies. We will also be looking at how to go about preparation for this General Studies syllabus. What are the sources for each and every topic in the syllabus, and how we are going to deal with this syllabus in our classroom. We shall be starting our classes for General Studies prelims cum mains from the month of October 2021. It will be in the first week or second week of October 2021. This is a special introduction class regarding the syllabus as well as preparation, and also the processes involved in taking classes in our institute for General Studies. So let us look at all these aspects one by one, starting with this examination, UPSC examination. Union Public Service Commission, UPSC, a constitutional body, conducts examination for civil services. Right. So every year UPSC, a constitutional body, conducts examination for civil services. This examination is conducted in 3 different phases. It is conducted in 3 different phases. In the first phase, we call it as a preliminary examination. Second one is the main examination, and the third one is a personality test. This preliminary examination is of objective type. In this prelims, students are expected to take 2 examinations. One is General Studies, second one is what is known as CSAT or GS Paper 2. And main examination is a descriptive one, wherein they are expected to write answers to the questions. Personality test is also known as interview, wherein those who clear the main examination will be asked by UPSC to come to Delhi and take the interviews in Delhi. This preliminary examination is what we call elimination. It is not a selection, it is only elimination. What do we mean by that? It means that this preliminary examination eliminates non-serious candidates. The objective is to eliminate non-serious candidates. So whatever the marks the candidate gets in this preliminary examination are not counted in their final selection. The marks are not counted in their final selection. It is only qualifying in nature, and their selection depends on their performance in the main examination as well as in the personality test. So this is about different stages in the civil services examination. Let us proceed further and look at all of them separately. How this examination is conducted, what is the syllabus, what the students are expected to read. All those things let us try to look at. First and foremost, what are the qualifications to take this examination? The qualifications are graduation. You can be a graduate in any discipline, and you have to get only around 55% of marks. That is more than enough. You can be a graduate in any discipline, and if you are in the final year of your graduation, then also you can take this examination, provided when you attend the main examination and personality test, you are giving UPSC your certificate also. So this is what is the minimum qualification, that is graduation in any academic discipline. You can be a graduate in physics or chemistry or history or geography or engineering or medicine or law or commerce and accountancy or economics or literature. You name it, you have to be a graduate in any of these academic disciplines. Minimum qualification. Next qualification is you must be minimum 21 years of age. When you take this examination, you must be minimum 21 years of age. This is the minimum age, and the maximum age is for general category 32 years. For general category students, it is 32 years. Age relaxation is provided for other backward castes, OBCs, then scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and then age relaxations for people from army and the differently abled persons also. Age relaxation is given. Otherwise, the minimum age is 21 years and upper age limit is 32 years. During this period, students, candidates can take this examination 6 times. 6 attempts are given to clear this examination. 6 attempts are given to clear this examination. That means they can write the preliminary examination 6 times. As it is a very difficult examination, UPSC has given these 6 attempts to make sure that one, they can become successful, second, they can improve their ranking and service also. For example, in one of your attempts you get into IRS, Indian Revenue Service, IT, but you want to get into IAS, you can take the examination again to improve your ranking as well as service also. 6 attempts are given. What you must remember is that every time you have to start with the prelims only. For example, this year you have cleared prelims, you have cleared mains, and you are attending interview, but you could not get into services. Can you start with interview again? Obviously no. Again you have to start with prelims. Again you have to clear prelims, mains, and go through interview. That makes this examination more complicated also. It makes this examination more complicated because you have to again go through the entire cycle from the beginning itself. Then proceeding further, what are the other challenges faced in this examination by the candidates? What are the other challenges faced in this examination by the candidates? Proceeding further. So the major challenges faced by the candidates is that the major challenges are many. First and foremost, this examination will test the knowledge of candidates in all academic disciplines. In all academic disciplines. The basic problem with the education system in India is that it is highly compartmentalized. It is highly compartmentalized. What do we mean by that? A person who studies physics does not know anything about history, and a person who studies history does not know anything about biology. And a person who studies biology has absolutely no knowledge about constitution. And that is where the problem becomes much more complicated. Your graduation might be in engineering discipline, might be in social sciences or arts or humanities or literature, but you are expected to master all these subjects. That is the reason why it requires a huge amount of hard work to clear this examination. Why? As I said, the problem with our education system, wherein the students study in their entire academic career only one particular subject or maximum 2 or 3 subjects, whereas in the UPSC they are expected to master so many subjects also. In the UPSC they are expected to master so many subjects also. That is the reason why it is a very long drawn process also. So what is the process involved here? What is the process involved here? UPSC normally comes out with advertisement for all these positions in the month of January or February. Then you have to apply. Nowadays it is mostly completely online only. They will scrutinize the applications. At the stage of preliminary examination, there will be not much of scrutiny as far as applications are concerned. Then the prelims examination will be held in the last week of May or first week of June. It will be held in the last week of May or first week of June. The examination will always be held on a Sunday. So after this preliminary examination, in around 40 days, they will come out with the results of the preliminary examination. In about 40 days, they will come out with the results. And after that, those who clear the preliminary examination will be asked to again fill in application again. What is known as a DAF, detailed application form. Again they have to do it online only, wherein at this stage they are expected to give all other details. What are the details that they have to give here? About their education qualifications, about their school, about their work experience, about their home state, about their hobbies, and about their service preferences also. UPSC conducts this examination for around 25-26 services, starting with IAS, IPS, IFS, IRS IT, IRS Customs, then Railway Services, then Audit and Account Service, then Group B Services. Like that, it will conduct the examination for so many services. As part of a detailed application form, you are expected to give your preferences. First preference IAS, second IPS, third IFS, so on and so forth. Why these preferences are required? Tomorrow, depending on your rank in the final selection, you will be given the service that you have opted for. You are getting into top rank, say you are getting into 5th rank or 6th rank, All India, and you prefer IPS as your first option. There are so many people who prefer IPS as their first option. Then they will be given IPS. And some other person prefers IFS as their first option, foreign service. They can be given foreign service. So these preferences that you give at the time of filling this DAF will be the one that decide your ultimate service when the final results come. That is the reason why the students are expected to be very careful while giving their preferences also. Then after giving the preferences, out of these services, 2 of them are all India services, rest of them are central services. 2 of them are all India services. What are the all India services? IAS and IPS. They are all India services. That means they can be posted anywhere else in the country. As an IAS officer, you can be working in the state, or you will be working with the central government also. In the same manner, if you are an IPS officer, you will be working in the state and you also be working at the central level. So this detailed application form also asks to give your preferences regarding the state cadres also. That is the reason why it is called cadre based civil services. It is called cadre based civil services. They are asked to give their preferences for other services also, especially all India services in terms of their cadre. They will be asked to choose their home cadre. That means what is the home state that they want. If you have studied in a particular state, your parents are from that particular state, that can be given as your home cadre. You have studied in a different state, but you stayed mostly in some other state, your parents, you can give either of them as your home cadre. So there is no problem as such. But the only thing is that this criteria should be fulfilled. Why this cadre is important? Why? Because tomorrow, once you get into services, into IAS or IPS, it is your cadre preferences that will ultimately decide where you will be posted also. For example, you are from Karnataka, you have given your home state Karnataka as your first preference, then you go to the next zone, say you go to the central zone or you get to the north zone and say that UP is your second preference. Then what happens? Since there are no vacancies in Karnataka, then you will be posted in UP. That is how this cadre allocation is done by Ministry of Personnel. Ministry of Personnel. And you should be very careful in filling these details in your DAF. You have to be extra careful. This is what you have to do once UPSC asks you to give your preferences and fill in the application form. Once this is done, everything has to be done online only nowadays. So once this is done, then the next step is the main examination. The main examination is mostly conducted. It is mostly conducted during the months of September or October. Normally, there will be a gap of around 75 days between the prelims and the main examination. A gap of around 75 days. After the preliminary examination is over, around 75 days the main examinations will be conducted. Those who clear the prelims will be asked to take the main examination. This main examination, as I have said, is a descriptive examination. What are the contents of main examination? We will discuss a little bit later. This main examination will be held. It will be held in the month of either September or October. It will be the 3rd or 4th week of September or 1st week of October. And this main examination will be conducted within a period of around 10 days. Not even 10 days, 7 days it will be over also. 7 to 8 days it will be over also. Once this main examination is over, then what happens? Then UPSC will take good amount of time to evaluate all the sheets. So if let us assume that mains are over by October 15th, right? Then you can expect the results in the month of January end or February first or second week. It can be end of February also. It depends on UPSC. And once the results are out, then UPSC will invite all those candidates who have cleared the main examination to attend personality test. And this personality test will be conducted in Delhi only, within the premises of UPSC. It will be conducted only in Delhi. At no other place in the country this personality is conducted. Last year, during the corona crisis, it was suggested that this personality test could have been conducted in different parts of the country, because students were finding it difficult to come to Delhi to attend the test. But UPSC has resisted all those temptations and had said that the test will be conducted, interviews will be conducted only in Delhi. It is conducted only in Delhi. And these interviews will be conducted from the month of March. And these interviews can be conducted almost for 2 months. They can start around the third week of March, and April and May the interviews will be conducted. March and April, third week of March, April third week, and May third week. Once the interviews are over, in the next 1 week or so, once the interviews are over, within 1 week or so, UPSC will come out with the final results. And these final results are announced before the conduct of next year preliminary examination. The gap between the declaration of final results last year's examination and conduction of prelims examination this year can be very little also. It can be as less as even 1 week also. But nowadays UPSC is trying to make things more efficient, so they are trying to come out with the results at least 1.5 months before the preliminary examination, so that who did not clear, will have opportunity to again prepare for the preliminary examination. So this is the whole process involved in the entire UPSC examination. This is the whole process involved. Almost 18 months from the time of giving the advertisement, from January to next year June, 18 months of duration. One of the longest duration examinations in the world. You don't find this much of a duration for any other examination conducted by any other institution anywhere else in the world. 18 months duration. Coming out with the advertisement in January, and final results will be in June. And when the results come, again there will not be immediate appointment, so they will have to wait for another 3 months to start their training also. The training will start in the month of September, late August or first week of September. So this is the entire cycle of UPSC preparation. So proceeding further, let us go into the specifics of this preparation. Let us look at what they have to study for prelims, what are the subjects in the prelims, what are the subjects in the mains, and what they have to study, what are the sources. All those things we shall be discussing. All those things let us discuss. So, as I mentioned earlier, this preliminary examination is objective type. That means every question will be followed by 4 choices, alternatives A, B, C, D. You have to select the best, the right alternative. This is what we call objective type. In this preliminary examination, you have 2 papers, GS1 and GS2. This is also called CSAT. First, let us look at what is the syllabus of paper 1, General Studies paper 1. Let us look at these things. Here, you are expected to answer 100 questions in 2 hours. 100 questions in 2 hours. All of them objective, and you also have negative marks. If you are getting the answer wrong, there will be negative marks also. If you get the answer right, you have 2 marks, and if you get the answer wrong, 1/3 will be deducted. That means 0.66 marks will be deducted. So the maximum marks are 100 question into 2, 200 marks. So the maximum marks in your General Studies paper are 200 marks. What you must remember here is that the questions are extremely difficult. Make no mistake about it. Questions are very, very difficult. They are extremely difficult. That is the reason why cutoff for this examination is not even 50% also. Cutoff will be around 98 to 102 marks. In the last few years, what we could see was that the cutoff for this preliminary examination was hovering around 98 marks. 40 questions. 100 questions. Get it. You can see, you can understand the difficulty of the examination. Then proceeding further, let us look at the syllabus. What is the syllabus of this examination? What is the syllabus of this examination? And going by the notification of UPSC, it says for this GS paper 1, the first one it says is current events of national and international importance. Syllabus was framed in a very simple manner. It was framed in a very, very simple manner. The first part of the syllabus says current events of national and international importance. Second, it says history of India. It says history of India and Indian national movement. We had a very significant part of our history in the form of the freedom struggle. So this freedom struggle is a very important component of your syllabus also. Then third part of your syllabus is Indian and world geography. Indian and world geography. It will be covering physical geography, economic geography, and also very important topic from your preliminary examination point of view, Indian and world geography. Then the next component of syllabus is Indian polity and governance. Indian polity and governance. It talks about constitution, it talks about the political system, it talks about Panchayat Raj, it talks about public policy, it also talks about rights issues. All these are part of our constitution, polity and governance. Then the next part of our syllabus is economic and social development. Next part of the syllabus is economic and social development. Here almost all aspects related to economy, like sustainable development, poverty and unemployment, inclusive growth, demography, social sector, all of them will be included, or all of them are part of this topic, economic and social development. So this is the syllabus of the preliminary examination. Current events of national and international importance, history, geography, polity, economy, ecology and environment, and general sciences. To tell you about the difficulty of this examination, right? Every year around 1.1 million people will apply. That means 11 lakh people will apply every year. 11 lakh people will apply, out of which around 7 lakh people will take the prelims. Sometimes it can be less, it can be 6 lakhs or it can be 5 lakhs also. Out of which only around 11,000 people, sometimes only 10,000 only, are qualified for the main examination. Imagine, from 11 lakhs, only 11,000 people, they qualify for the mains. From this 11,000 people, around 2,500 or 2,000 only will be taken for personality test. Out of this, the final selection will be around 800 vacancies. 800 vacancies. That means if 1.1 million people applies, only 800 people will be selected. You can imagine about the tough competition in this examination. And almost every graduate in the country always dreams of taking this examination and getting into civil services, because these civil services are considered to be the most prestigious service in India. You are from IITs, you are from IITs, you are from IIMs, you are from top medical institutions, you are from top colleges and universities in India. The ultimate dream is always to get into civil services. So obviously it requires huge amount of hard work and preparation. As you can see here, 11 lakh people and 800 candidates finally selected. And out of this 800 also, almost now 60% are recruited through reservations. We have reservations for scheduled castes 15%, scheduled tribes 7.5%, other backward castes then 27%. Then last year the Government of India has introduced EWS reservations also. Economically weaker sections around 10%. So almost in a 60%, 22, 49.5 in 59.5% reservations. And then we also have reservations for this disabled people also. So then that will be around 3%. So 62% of seats are reserved for various categories of reservations. You can imagine how tough the competition is. You can also imagine how much amount of hard work you have to put in to get into civil services. So proceeding further, let us look at what you have to read for all these topics in your preliminary examination. What you have to read for all these topics in your preliminary examination. What are the sources? What are the sources for all these topics in your preliminary examination? You start your preparation with basic material, NCERTs. NCERTs, basic preparation with NCERTs. You must normally, students start from 6th to 12th NCERTs. But this is a very long drawn process. So what you can do is, you can start from 10th, 11th and 12th. You can start from 10th, 11th and 12th NCERTs. What are the books that you have to read? You have to read mostly history, geography and the sciences. These are the things which you have to read from NCERTs. History, geography and sciences. You have a book on ancient history. You have a book on medieval history. You also have a book on modern history. Similarly, in geography, you have a book on physical geography. Then you have a book on economic geography. You have a book on world geography. And you have a book on Indian geography. Because these NCERTs are written in a very simple format, it becomes easier for you to understand all of them. It becomes easier for you to understand all of them because they are written in a very, very simple format. You must have studied all these things as part of your school also. Basically what you are doing, you are revising all those things also. You are revising all of them. So what is the study material apart from the NCERTs? Let us look at the study material apart from NCERTs. What is the study material apart from NCERTs? Take polity, Indian polity and governance. You can go through this book of Lakshmikant, a very good book, Indian Polity by Lakshmikant. And you can also go through Constitution. D.D. Bus is there. And a smaller version, P.N. Bakshi is also there. But it is better if you rely only on one source. Since this Lakshmikant Indian Polity is an updated version which includes the current affairs also, it is better you can read this book for polity. From the preliminary examination point of view, Lakshmikant Indian Polity can be a very, very good book. Then what are the sources of other books? What are the sources of other topics in the syllabus? For Indian economy, you can go through standard books. Indian economy by Mishra and Puri. Even though it is a bulky one, you can go through the select topics from Mishra and Puri. You don't have to read the entire book. Look into the syllabus and read only those topics which are there in the syllabus. Apart from this, you must be going through economic survey. Economic survey is a document published by the Government of India, Ministry of Finance, Department of Economic Affairs, just before the presentation of the budget. So this economic survey is a very important document for your preliminary examination. Then another important document is the budget, budgetary document. Another important document is budget. Budget presented by the finance minister, budget presented by the finance minister is also a very important document from your examination point of view. It gives all important details about the functioning of economy. So these are important sources. Apart from this, you must go through the economy or business page of newspapers, Hindu and Indian Express. Hindu and Indian Express. Economy or business pages of. As part of our class today, I will be taking up this newspaper also. I will take up Hindu newspaper and I will tell you what to read from Hindu newspaper also. So this is what you have to study for your economy. Then comes the next topic in our syllabus, geography. For geography, as I mentioned, NCERTs are very good. Physical geography, Indian geography, then world geography, physical and economic geography, Indian geography and world geography. These three books cover the entire syllabus. They are necessary but not sufficient. Apart from these books, you must also focus on maps, map pointing, because UPSC gives good number of questions from maps. You must also focus on current geography. This is what you have to go through. And geography has a vast syllabus, very vast syllabus. You have to study a lot for geography. Then after geography, let us take history. What are the sources for history? What are the sources for history? This history has three parts: ancient, medieval and modern. Three parts. You have NCERTs for all these three parts. Normally students prefer old NCERTs, they are more authentic. You have to read all of them. Then you can also go through Spectrum booklet on modern history, modern India. You can also go through Bipin Chandra, freedom struggle. They are all good books, but you can read Spectrum and Bipin Chandra only after completing these three sources. Very, very important. Then after history, what are the other subjects? Nowadays UPSC is asking a good number of questions from ecology and environment. Good number of questions are asked from ecology and environment. What are the sources? 11th, class 11th, ICSE. I am not talking about I am not talking about NCERT. Class 11th ICSE booklet on ecology can be a good source because it covers most of our syllabus also, ICSE. You can find most of them on internet also. There is a software, you can find them on internet. Class 11th ICSE. This is also a very important source, very important source. Then comes the next topic, general science. General science. If you are from non-science background, it becomes difficult for you because to understand class 10th and class 11th, physics and chemistry or biology will be very difficult for you. So what you can do is that you can stop with class 10th only. Try to understand whatever you can if you are from non-science background. So this is what the sources for your preliminary examination. But the most important source is newspaper. You must read at least 2 newspapers every day. 2 newspapers. One is the Hindu, which can be considered as a Bible for civil services aspirants, and the second one is the Indian Express newspaper. These 2 are very, very important for you because the first topic in our syllabus, current events of national and international importance. And where do we get all of them? We get all of them from these newspapers. Apart from these newspapers, you can also go through other government documents. What are the other government documents? Please remember, UPSC will always ask questions only from authentic sources. What are the authentic sources? Only government documents. The most authentic and most credible source is only government document. So what are the government documents that we are talking about here? What are the documents that we are talking about here? There is this India Yearbook, which is published by Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. India Yearbook. This book is published every year and it comes in the month of January or February. India Yearbook. It comes in the month of January or February. And this India Yearbook is the most important document because it comes out with the annual reports of most of the ministries and departments. It comes with the annual reports of most of the ministries and departments. So this India Yearbook is very, very important for you from your examination point of view. Apart from this, you also have to go through the annual reports. You also have to go through the annual reports of some of the important ministries. For example, Ministry of Environment and Forests. As I mentioned earlier, good number of questions are asked from ecology and environment. So you have to go through the annual reports of Ministry of Environment and Forests. It gives you most authentic information. These annual reports are very, very important because they give you most credible and authentic information. Most credible and authentic information. And that is the reason why you must be going through the annual reports of important ministries and departments. For example, Ministry of Urban Development, Ministry of Rural Development, Ministry of Agriculture, Women and Children Development. These are all the important ministries and they come out with their annual reports. And these annual reports are extremely important because maximum number of questions are picked up from these reports only. So these are the sources as far as the general studies preliminary is concerned. Now let us look at how and what kind of questions are asked in the preliminary examination. As we have mentioned, in the preliminary examination 100 questions are asked. Each question will have 2 marks. What are the areas from which the questions are asked? First one is Indian polity and governance. Second, Indian economy. Third, fourth, history. Fifth, ecology and environment. Then sixth, international relations. Seventh, government schemes and programs. So, and eighth, from general science, physics, chemistry and other things. So the questions are asked from these areas. How many questions are asked from these areas? How many questions are asked from these areas out of 100 questions? If we take polity and governance, every year it varies. Sometimes UPSC can give more importance to science. Sometimes they can give more importance to economy. Sometimes they can give more importance to geography. Sometimes they can give more importance to history. UPSC keeps the pattern of the question paper. They keep on changing the pattern of the question paper. Why? Because they do not want candidates to have any kind of certainty or predictability about the examination process. So on an average, around 10 to questions are asked from polity and governance. Sometimes it can be more also. For example, last year in 2020, from polity and governance 21 questions were asked. That means 1 out of every 5th question is only polity and governance. Around 10 to 17 questions are asked. Economy, around 8 to 12 questions will be asked from economy. Sometimes it can be more also. For example, 3 years back, almost 20 questions were asked only from economy. As I said, UPSC always wants to make the entire process highly unpredictable. From geography, around 15 to 20 questions are asked. Or you can say, from geography, around 12 to can be asked from geography. So from history, around 11 to 15 questions are asked. From ecology and environment, again around 12 to 15 questions are asked. International relations, around 7 to 9 questions can be asked. Government schemes, sometimes they will ask more, otherwise 4 to 5 questions can be asked. General science, around 3 to 5 questions can be asked. So you can see here the questions from different parts of general studies: economy, geography, history, ecology and environment, then international relations, government schemes and general science. So maximum weightage is given to geography, ecology and environment. Combined together, around 30 to 35 questions are asked. What UPSC has done some time back was they have mixed the preliminary examination. They are having only one single preliminary examination for IAS and IFS also. IFS is Forest Service. Forest Service also will have the same examination for prelims as IAS examination. In Forest Service, they needed more knowledge of ecology, geography, environment, forests. That is the reason why in the last few years what we are witnessing is huge number of questions being asked from this ecology, environment and geography. If students have to clear the preliminary exam, they must make sure that they are thorough with these topics. And of course, rest of them are equally important: history, economy, polity, international relations, government schemes. All of them are equally important. But what students must be doing is they must identify their areas of strength. They must identify their areas of strength and focus on them. For example, if you are a candidate from science background, if you are a candidate from science background, it will be easy for you to learn geography, ecology and environment. It will be easy for you to learn geography, ecology and environment if you are from science background. On the other hand, if you are from non-science background, it will be easy for you to go through history or polity and governance, right? Depending on your background, you can always look for your areas of strength in the preliminary examination. As I said, you must get at least minimum 53 to 54 questions right. That means if you are getting around 110 marks in the preliminary examination, you can be sure of your selection for the mains. Your target should be at least 51, 55 questions right for your preliminary examination, so that you will be able to immediately prepare for the main examination, right? This is what is about the first stage in the examination process, that is the preliminary examination. Now moving forward, let us look at the next stage in the examination process. What you must remember is that this preliminary examination is only of a qualifying in nature. That means you have to only clear the examination even by 0.33 marks. If the cutoff is say 98.66 marks, then if you are getting 99 marks, also you will be clearing the preliminary examination. We don't have to top the prelims examination because it is only qualifying in nature. But this is only General Studies paper 1. We also have paper 2 also, what is known as CSAT, aptitude test. So what do we have as part of this CSAT? What are the things that we have as part of this CSAT? You will be tested, as UPSC says, on reading comprehension, then you will be tested on interpersonal and communication skills, then logical reasoning and analytical ability, then mental ability, then basic numeracy, and then basic English. And UPSC says that most of them are of 10th standard only. The questions are of 10th standard only. You have logical reasoning, data sufficiency, data interpretation, mental ability, comprehension, and basic English. Around 80 questions are asked here, and you have to answer these 80 questions in 2 hours. For this examination is only qualifying in nature. Whatever the marks that you get in this examination will not be counted in your overall score in the prelims examination. But you must also remember that you have to clear this CSAT, then only your paper 1 marks will be taken into consideration. You have to clear CSAT first. And this is, what is the qualification? 1/3 marks. You have to get only 33% marks. As usual, net, because this examination also has negative marking. It also has negative marking. So net, you have to get 33% marks to clear this one. That means out of 80 questions, if you get 27 questions right, around 30 questions right, then you will be clearing the CSAT. CSAT should not be problematic, especially for those who are from science and maths background, engineering background, or those who have done MBA, because if they have done MBA means they must have taken all these management graduate examinations, wherein they must be doing all these things regularly also. So it was not at all difficult for them. It would not be not at all difficult for them. But those who are from arts background and humanities, they must take CSAT very seriously, because every year hundreds of students fail only in CSAT, this paper 2. That is the reason why this CSAT becomes very, very important from your examination point of view. Once you qualify in this paper 2, then only your marks in paper 1 will be taken into consideration. As I said, this is only qualifying. Out of 80 questions, even if you get 60 questions right, the marks will not be added to your overall score in the prelims examination. Your prelims examination results are only decided by your performance in paper 1. So this is about the first stage in the examination, the prelims examination. Let us move on to the next stage, the main examination. Let us look at the main examination. This is the most important part of your examination, because it has maximum number of marks, and your performance in the main examination is the one that really determines your selection, your service, your cadre, and everything else also. So what are the papers that you have in the main examination? There are compulsory papers. One is English language, and the second one is any other language. It can be Hindi or any other language. These are all compulsory papers, and you have to clear these papers. Marks are 300 each, and they are not difficult also, because the standard is very, very minimal. So normally we find that students clearing these papers very easily, language papers. But at the same time, if you have studied in English medium, obviously your knowledge of your mother tongue can be very minimum. So it is better if you practice these regional languages also, because every year at least 1000 students who write the main examination will fail in these regional languages, because they have not studied them from kindergarten onwards till your post graduation. You have studied only in English medium, so it becomes difficult for you to write good language in your mother tongue also. That is the reason why those who have studied only in English medium, it is better that they get a good amount of preparation for the second paper also. We have a situation wherein some of our students have failed to clear the language paper, even though they were easily getting very good marks in other GS papers. Since they could not clear language papers, they failed in the main examination, and of course next year they cleared the language papers and they got into IAS also. So you have to be very, very careful about this language papers. Then after these compulsory papers where you have to clear, please remember, rest of your general studies papers will be evaluated only when you clear the language papers. Otherwise UPSC will not even evaluate your general studies papers also. You will not know how many marks you have scored also in your general studies papers. They will evaluate your performance in other papers of general studies only when you clear these language papers. Otherwise we have GS 4 papers, paper 1, paper 2, paper 3 and paper 4. Apart from these 4 papers, you also have general essay. These are all compulsory for everyone. Anyone who is writing the mains will have to take all these papers. Apart from this, in the main examination, you also have optional paper. You have to select one paper from various subjects that UPSC is offering as part of optional papers. Let us first look at the general studies papers. Each paper will carry 250 marks. This is also 250, 250, 250, 250. So it will be around 1250 marks. This is for general studies. In optional also you have 2 papers, paper 1 and paper 2, and each of them will again carry 250 marks each, 500 marks. So totally in the main examination you have 1750 marks in the main examination. 1750 marks. And what is the cutoff in the main examination? The cutoff will be decided by UPSC. Normally the cutoff will be around 760, 770, like that. 760, 770, or either maybe 800. 800 is too high. So 760, 770, 780, like that cutoff will be there. You can understand how difficult the question papers are, even not even 50%. What are the average marks students get in all these papers? In paper 1, out of 250 marks, average marks are around 90. In paper 2, it is around 105 or 110 marks. In paper 3, they get around 120 marks. In paper 4, they get around again 80 to 90 marks. In essay, around 120 marks. You can see here, in none of these papers, average marks are more than 50%. In none of the papers. How difficult examination is. But students get very good marks in optionals. In optionals, they even get a 60% also. Out of 500, 60% means 300 marks. And sometimes some students get through 60 marks also after 500. More than 70%. So finally, what we can conclude here is that it is the performance in the optional paper that ultimately decides their selection for the main examination, for the interview, the next stage. If you are doing very well in your optional, if you are scoring around 300 marks in your optional, then you will definitely be getting the interview call. So students have to get their priorities right also. They must get their priorities right also. That is, they must be thorough with their optional. Even if you are getting some less marks in general studies, no problem. If they can compensate with their performance in the optional, if you are getting 330 marks in optional, that is icing on the cake. If you are getting 360 marks, it is incredible performance. So this is what they must be looking at. First, prepare your optional paper thoroughly for the main examination, then come to the general studies papers. Then come to these general studies papers. First, prepare your this optional, then you can come to general studies. So, proceeding further, let us look at the syllabus of these general studies, all these papers of general studies. Let us look at the syllabus, what are the sources and how to go about your preparation. Let us look at all of them. Of all the papers of general studies. This paper 1 of general studies is called Indian History, Heritage and Culture, then Geography of the world and social issues and society, or you can say society. As you can see, the syllabus is very abstract. That is the reason why the scoring is also very difficult in this paper. Let us go through the syllabus of this General Studies paper 1 in a more detailed manner. Indian culture will cover all salient aspects of art forms, literature and architecture from ancient to modern times. So as part of culture, you will be studying about literature, you will be studying about painting, you will be studying about architecture, you will be studying about coinage, you will be studying about dance forms, you will be studying about music, you will be studying about different books also. A very, very important and very vast topic. You will be studying from ancient to modern times. Then second topic in the syllabus covers modern Indian history from about the middle of the 18th century until the present. Modern Indian history from about the middle of the 18th century until the present. Significant events, personalities and issue. Basically, you are talking about this from 1750s till the present. till 1947, 1757 to 1947. Why? Because 1757 was a seminal event in the country, because for the first time Britishers had occupied one of the important regions of our country, the Bengal province. From then onwards, you have to study about the entire history from 1757 to 1947. These 2 decades you have to study. As part of this, what you will be studying is freedom struggle. What are the various stages and important contributors to freedom struggle, and contributions to freedom struggle from different parts of the country also. So you will be studying all these topics in Indian history. And of course, you also will be studying post-independent India consolidation and reorganization within the country. What happened after post-independent India from 1947 till now, 2021, post-independent India history. What is the source material for this? The same thing as we have discussed for the prelims also. NCERT books, ancient, medieval and modern. Then freedom struggle, freedom movement by Bipin Chandra, or even Spectrum book on freedom movement. Then for post-independent India, you can also go through Bipin Chandra's book on post-independent India, right? Then what are the other parts of the syllabus? History of the world, including events from 18th century such as Industrial Revolution, World Wars, redrawal of national boundaries, colonization, decolonization, political philosophies like communism, capitalism, socialism, their forms and effects on the society. So we will be looking at all these things from world history point of view. You must have good knowledge about the political philosophies, communism, capitalism, socialism. What is the source material for this topic? There is a book called from 1757, Battle of Plassey, to the end of the Second World War, which covers the whole of world history. This ICSC book, I think, is good for these topics in the syllabus. Next, silent features of Indian society, diversity of India, role of women and women's organizations, population and associated issues, poverty and developmental issues, urbanization, their problems and their remedies, effects of globalization on Indian society, social empowerment, communalism, regionalism and secularism. These are all the topics in the society or social issues. These are all current related issues also. So you will not have any specific booklet for these things. Kurukshetra, a magazine published by the Government of India, covers some of these topics. So is Yojana. But for these topics, I would suggest that there is this magazine, Frontline, published by Hindu newspaper. It is a fortnightly. It covers most of these topics. You can go through this magazine, right? Then silent features of world physical geography, distribution of key natural resources across the world, including South Asia, Indian subcontinent, factors responsible for the location of primary, secondary and tertiary sector industries in various parts of the world, including India, important geographical phenomena such as earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanic activities, cyclones, geographical features and their locations, changes in critical geographical features including water bodies and ice caps, and in flora and fauna and effects of such changes. These topics you can be studying from World Geography booklet of NCERT, and you can find them in physical geography as well as world geography. Most of these topics are covered, and of course most of these topics are related to current events also. If you are thorough with the current events, you will be covering most of these topics. So this is the syllabus of General Studies paper 1 in the main examination. Let us look at the syllabus of paper 2. Let us look at the syllabus of paper 2. It says constitution, governance, polity, social justice, and international relations. Constitution, governance, polity, social justice, and international relations. So let us first look at the syllabus, then we will see the sources for these topics. It starts with the first topic, Indian Constitution, historical underpinnings, evolution, features, amendments, significant provisions, and basic structure. Then functions and responsibilities of the Union and the states, issues and challenges pertaining to the federal structure, devolution of powers and finances up to local levels and also changes therein, separation of powers between the various organs of the state, dispute resolution mechanism and institutions, comparison of Indian constitutional scheme with that of the other countries. If you look at all these topics, what is the source material? Of course, Indian Polity by Lakshmikant, and then you also have to go through Indian Public Administration by Rajani, Goyal and Arora, a very important book. The latest edition you can buy. And of course, Constitution by D.D. Basu, right? Then structure, Parliament and state legislatures, structure, functioning, conduct of business, powers and privileges, and issues arising out of these, structure and organizations and functioning of the executive and the judiciary, ministries and departments of the government, pressure groups, formal and informal associations and their role in the polity, silent features of RPA, Representation of People's Act, appointment to various constitutional posts, powers, functions and responsibilities of various constitutional bodies, statutory, regulatory and various quasi-judicial bodies, government policies and interventions for development in various sectors and issues arising out of their design and implementation. So for most of the topics, these books are enough. For most of the topics, these books are enough. And then, so for all these topics, apart from the conventional books that I have mentioned, the most important source of information for you are second ERC reports. Second Administrative Reforms Commission in 2009 has submitted around 15 reports. It has submitted around 15 reports. All these reports are what we call the most important sources for candidates writing the main examination. All these reports, right? So what are those reports? First one is Right to Information, RTI. The topic transparency and accountability. It is mentioned in your polity governance paper as well as ethics paper. Second ERC report on RTI. Then you have citizen centric administration. Then you have social capital. Then you have report on personal administration, civil services. You have report on ethics in governance. Then you have report on public order. You have another report on terrorism. You have one report on union government and administration. You have another report on state government and administration. You have another report on rural development. You have one more report on urban development. Then you have another report on what is called crisis management or disaster management. You have another report on financial management. So all these are very, very important for you from the main examination point of view. RTI is there in your polity governance paper and ethics paper. Citizen-centric administration and social capital are there in polity governance paper, and the questions, case studies are asked in ethics paper from this topic. Civil services, the questions are asked from polity governance paper and ethics paper. Civil services reforms. Ethics in governance, you have a separate paper on ethics for 250 marks. Ethics in governance. Public order and terrorism are a part of your General Studies paper 3, internal security. In your General Studies paper 3 you have internal security. Then union government and administration, state government, rural development, urban development, these things are there in your polity and governance and also in your paper 1, urbanization, problems of urbanization as part of social issues. This crisis management is also a topic in your paper 3, disaster management. So what you must remember here is that if you take all the 4 papers of general studies in your main examination, what UPSC has done is it has taken the 4 papers of your general studies, all these 15 reports of second URC, it has taken 15 reports of second URC and it has converted these 15 reports into 4 papers of your general studies. It has divided these 15 reports into your 4 papers of general studies. And that is the reason why before you study anything else for your main examination, you must be going through all these reports. At the end of each report, you have the summary of recommendations also. Whenever you are writing answers in the examination, you have to quote all those recommendations as part of solutions. And all these reports are available on the website of Department of Administrative Reforms. You can find all these reports. It is better if you read all these reports extensively and remember the summary of recommendations towards the end of these reports. Every year UPSC would mostly ask questions from these reports only. Then proceeding further, what are the other topics in your paper 2, polity and governance? What are the other topics in polity governance? What are the other topics in polity and governance paper? You have India and neighborhood relations as part of IR, international relations. You have bilateral, regional, global groupings and agreements involving India or affecting India's interests. Then effects of policies and politics of developed and developing countries on India's interests, Indian diaspora, important international institutions, agencies, and for their structures and their mandate. These are all other topics in your IR, international relations. What is the study material for all IR? There is no specific study material as such. If you are reading newspapers regularly, you will be covering all these topics. You will be covering all these topics. Reading newspapers regularly will be more than enough to cover all these topics. You don't have to read anything separately for this paper. Then comes the paper 3, General Studies paper 3. GS paper 3. What is the syllabus and what are the topics and what are the sources? Let us look at all of them. Syllabus says technology, economic development, biodiversity, environment, security and disaster management. It includes Indian economy, science and technology, internal security and disaster management. What are the topics in economy? In economy, the topics include Indian economy, issues relating to planning, mobilization of resources, growth and development, and employment. It also includes inclusive growth and issues arising from it, government budgeting. Then the syllabus goes into agriculture, major crops, cropping patterns in various parts of the country, different types of irrigation and irrigation systems, storage, transport, and marketing of agriculture produce and issues and related to e-technology in the aid of farmers. So this is about agriculture. Continuing with agriculture, issues related to direct and indirect farm subsidies and minimum support prices, public distribution system, objectives, functioning, limitation, revamping, issues of buffer stocks and food security, technology missions, economics of animal rearing. It also includes food processing and related industries in India, scope and significance, location, upstream and downstream requirements, supply chain management, land reforms in India. So all these topics are related to agriculture. All these topics are related to agriculture. Mostly everything related to agriculture, from cropping pattern to marketing of agriculture products, to insurance of agriculture products, to storage of agriculture products, to credit, agriculture credit, to irrigation, to food security, to land reforms. Everything is part of this topic. Then we will move on to industry as part of economy syllabus. In industry, we will be talking about effects of liberalization on the economy, changes in industrial policies and their effects on industrial growth, infrastructure, energy, ports, roads, airports, railways and investment models. This basically talks about globalization, liberalization, privatization, and what is the impact of globalization, liberalization, privatization on Indian industry, and what is this industrial revolution, manufacturing sector revolution, what about infrastructure, energy, ports, roads, airports and railways. Then this is the syllabus of Indian economy. From then you will be moving on to science and technology, development and their applications and effects in everyday life, achievements of Indians in science and technology, indigenization of technology and developing new technologies, awareness in the fields of IT, space, computers, robotics, nanotechnology, biotechnology, issues relating to IPR, intellectual property rights. This is about science and technology. Again, most of the questions in science and technology, you must remember, are application oriented ones. Mostly what do we see in our day-to-day life? Application oriented ones. Then conservation, environmental pollution and degradation, environmental impact assessment, disaster and disaster management, This is part of what we call disaster management, and you find most of these things in second IAS report on crisis management, also known as disaster management. All these topics can be seen in the second Administrative Reforms Commission report on crisis management. Then the topics are part of what we call internal security. Internal security. So what are we talking as part of internal security? We are talking about the linkages between development and spread of extremism, role of external state and non-state actors in creating challenges to internal security, challenges to internal security through communication networks, role of media, social networking, sites in internal security challenges, basics of cyber security, money laundering and its prevention, security challenges and their management in border areas, linkages of organized crime with terrorism, various security forces and agencies and their mandate. All these topics in internal security, you can find the necessary information from two sources. One is second IAS report on public order, and the second one is the report on terrorism. Apart from this, you will also get very important information from the annual reports of Ministry of Home Affairs. Ministry of Home Affairs comes out with annual report wherein it provides extensive details about the major internal security problems, what are the solutions taken by, what are the measures taken by the Government of India, and what else can be done also. So this is the syllabus of paper 3 in General Studies. Paper 3 in General Studies. And this syllabus is mostly related to current affairs also. As I said, maximum number of questions are asked from current affairs. For economy, the sources, as I mentioned, economic survey, budgets, newspapers, and then Indian economy by Mishra and Puri. The last paper is GS paper 4. It is called ethics, integrity and aptitude. It is called ethics, integrity and aptitude. So what are the topics in this syllabus? What is the source for this topic? As we have mentioned, there is a second ERC report on ethics in governance and a second report of second ERC on civil services. These two are important sources for this paper. Please remember, UPSC will never go beyond authentic government sources. Let us look at the syllabus of this paper. Ethics and human interface, essence, determinants, consequences of ethics in human actions, dimensions of ethics, ethics in public-private partnerships, human values, lessons from the lives and teachings of great leaders, reformers and administrators, role of the family, society and educational institutions in inculcating values, attitude, content, structure, function, its influence and relation with thought and behavior, moral and political attitudes, social influence and persuasion. Then aptitude and foundational values for civil services, integrity, impartiality, non-partisanship, objectivity, dedication to public service, empathy, tolerance and compassion towards weaker sections of society. Emotional intelligence, concepts and their utilities and application in administration and governance. Contribution of moral thinkers and philosophers from India and abroad. Then public civil services values and ethics in public administration, status and problems, ethical concerns and dilemmas in government and public private institutions, laws, rules, regulations and conscience as sources of ethical guidance, accountability and ethical governance, strengthening of ethical and moral values in governance, ethical issues in international relations and funding, corporate governance. The last topic is probity in governance, concept of public service, philosophical basis of governance and probity, information sharing and transparency in governance, right to information, code of ethics, code of conduct, citizen charters, work culture, quality of service delivery mechanisms, utilization of public funds, challenges of corruption. And finally, the last topic is case studies on above issues. This paper was included by UPSC in 2013 as part of the changes they have made to the civil services examination. And as I said, there are no specific sources for this paper except the second IAS report on ethics and governance and civil services reports. Apart from this, you must be going through important contributions of various moral and political philosophers, Indian and Western. And you also have to have good knowledge of public administration, especially application oriented aspects of public administration. You need good knowledge. So these are all 4 papers of general studies. Apart from this, you also have another paper called general essay. It is also for 250 marks. And you will be writing 2 essays, section A and section B. In section A, they will give you 4 essays. In section B, they will give you 4 essays. You have to write one essay from section A and 1 essay from section B. Each essay will carry 125 marks. And normally, what are the topics from which these essays are asked? The topics are mostly from your general studies papers only, from polity, from environment, from social issues, from economy, from governance, from ethics. If you are good with your 4 papers of GS, normally you don't have to worry about essay writing, because if you are good with your 4 papers of GS, you will automatically do well in your essay papers also. So this is about the entire preparation of general studies papers for UPSC main examination. Once main examination is over, as I mentioned, the next step will be personality test interview. Here again you have, those who clear in the main examination will be called for interview by UPSC. The interview will be for around half an hour, and the marks of interviews are around 275 marks. Maximum marks are 275. In the main examination, you will have 1750 marks. So altogether you can add all of them, and you have 2025 marks. And out of this 2025 marks, those who get top marks will be given the top rank. You will become rank 1 by getting top marks in the mains. And if you are getting around say 1000 marks in the main examination, around 180 marks in the interview, or if you are getting 1100 marks in the main examination and 150 marks in the interview, you will become the top ranker, number 1 ranker. So out of 11 lakh people, you will become number 1 ranker. So this is the entire journey from the time you start your preparation till you become the number 1 ranker in the examination. Last year, the number 1 ranker was Pradeep Singh. Incidentally, one of our students only. He was our student for both public administration. He also took guidance from us for his general studies preparation also. So this is the entire process of UPSC examination. Let me, as I said, tell you about the newspaper reading also as part of our last topic for today. Let us look at newspaper reading also. As I mentioned, your civil services examination preparation starts and ends with newspaper reading. Let me take up the Hindu newspaper today. Today is 7th September 2021. I will tell you what to read from Hindu newspaper from 7th September 2021. So the front page talks about Nipah virus, which is being seen in states like Kerala. Already the country is suffering from corona, on top of it this Nipah virus also. Immediately the questions can be there in your science and technology, in your preliminary examination about these viruses, their origins, their spread, their vaccines, their strategies. The moment you see these kind of topics in your newspapers, what you must do is go to the internet and look at all the sources of these viruses, how they spread, and what are the consequences, what are the vaccines. Everything should be done. Please remember, newspaper reading does not mean reading what is there in the newspaper only. You have to go beyond the newspaper. You have to do a lot of research on your own. Nowadays, almost everyone has access to internet. So every person can, look into all these things, get the necessary information, and also make sure that you are preparing your own notes. Making notes is a very important part of your preparation. Making notes is a very important part of your preparation. Taliban claims total control of Panjshir resistance force. Right now, what is happening in Afghanistan? It is part of international relations. So you should know what is happening in Afghanistan. Tomorrow in the preliminary examination, they can give you map of Afghanistan, India, and they can ask questions related to it. So whenever you see something in newspaper, you have to think what kind of questions can be asked. From this topic I am reading, both from prelims and mains point of view. The next news item is about this farmers' agitation against the 3 reform bills that were passed by the parliament recently in its previous session. Then immediately the questions will come. What are the problems with the agrarian reform bills? What is the criticism against them? What could be the solutions? You must, as I said, do a lot of research on your own. That is the reason why this newspaper reading takes a lot of time, especially when you are starting for the first time. It will take at least 4 hours, 5 hours also to read newspapers. Supreme Court has asked the central government to fill in all tribunal vacancies by September 13. What are these tribunals? What is the conflict between the central government and Supreme Court? Why the Supreme Court has asked them to fill all the vacancies? Again, you have to do research and find out all the problems and all the solutions. That is what I mean by newspaper reading. Normally in Hindu, second page and third page is about the city only. Here in this case it is about Delhi. So you are not that much concerned about this second page and third page. The fourth page is about north and east, Assam or the North India. Again, today not much of news is there from the fourth page. And the fifth page is from the south. Hindu newspaper is published from mostly Chennai. So they give lot of importance to news from South India. Again, today there is not much of news from the south. But what is important for you are the page 6 and 7, editorial page and op-ed page. So you must be going through these editorials. Recently the government of India had come out with a national asset monetization plan, and there is so much of criticism against this plan. You have to read all of them because the questions will be asked in your economy about all these things. Similarly, you have another article, spirit of federalism lies in consultation. What is this cooperative federalism? Why should we have cooperative federalism? What are the problems of central government dominating the states? You should know all these things because the questions are repeatedly asked in your polity governance and other papers. Then proceeding further, central government has created a database of farmers, of more than 5.5 crore farmers in the country. According to central government, there are around 9 crore farmers. So 5.5 crore farmers database the government has created. Why? Because this information is very, very important for the government to come out with any policies related to agriculture. This database will provide the government up-to-date information about what is happening at the ground level also. Then Narendra Modi, our Prime Minister, will be attending BRICS, SCO and Quad summits in September. International relations, very, very important. Immediately you go to the net and find out what are these BRICS, what is SCO, what is Quad and why they are important. Because the questions are repeatedly asked in our prelims and main examination also about all these things. And then on the world page, not every day you will get news, so you can leave them. And on business page, as I said, it is very important from your economy point of view. It is about a GST council. Immediately you should know and find out what is this GST council, who are the members of GST council, how the decisions are taken by the GST council and what are the controversies related to GST council. So this is how you will be looking at the newspaper and you will be reading the newspaper. Make sure that newspaper reading does not limit itself to reading what is there in the newspaper. You are going beyond the newspaper and doing a lot of research on your own. So this is all about the syllabus of UPSC examination. And in our institute, Pawan Kumar's IAS, we will be starting our General Studies PCM, Prelim cum Mains batches from the month of October. This month UPSC has given permission, the Delhi government has given permission to the coaching institutes to have their physical classes in Delhi. So we will be starting our physical classes from the month of October, and we have around 8 to 10 months of this PCM batch. We will be covering the entire General Studies along with CSAT also. I will be teaching a major portion of your General Studies, including polity and governance, ethics, economy, social issues, essay, internal security and parts of disaster management. And we have very good faculty for history, geography, science and technology and environment. So most probably we will be idea about the entire UPSC preparation. Thank you very much.